My mom has done so much, as you can see. She's a member of the Mary McLeod Bethune organization. She's a lifetime member. And Mary McLeod Bethune started this organization to impact our neighborhoods and our community and to give women of color strength in the community, which they already had. And because of that, it spiraled into other things, civic duties, civic concerns in the city. My mom has many awards, as you can see here. I mean, if you go in the back, you'll see they're going down the hall too. It's like you can make them wallpaper. I always tell her, aren't you tired of getting awards, Ma? But she's certainly a giant, and I could never fill her shoes. I could never fill my mama's shoes. I am honored and grateful to be here to help her in any way that I can, because she's done so much for me and others.
I left North Carolina, Warrenton, North Carolina, in 1945, which was New Year's Eve. Arrived in Hackensack, 1946, which was the first day of the new year. I got married in 46, and I moved from Hackensack to Paterson in 1948, because my husband had a business on Bridge Street. He was a barber.
And what was life like in Paterson then?
Oh, but Paterson was such a beautiful city. As a matter of fact, when you walk down Broadway, it was just like walking down on a Fifth Avenue in New York. That's how it was. I lived on Harrison Street, and a Jewish family lived downstairs, and we lived upstairs. And it was such a community that people was together. We kept our block clean, you know, and everybody was like a whole big family.
When did you notice things changing in Paterson?
But now, back in about 47 and 40, not 47, 49 and 50, that's when things beginning to change.
What happened?
It seemed like the people was moving out. Most of the Jewish people was moving out. And it looked like everything was turning around, and the community began to go down. It was just like chaos everywhere. And it was so confusing to me, because I said, my God, you know, all of a sudden everything is changing, and it wasn't getting any better.
How was it in the 60s? What was going on then?
In the 60s, it was just nothing but harass. I joined the NAACP under Art Holloway. He was the president of the NAACP at that particular time. And we really went to work to get change. You know, we could see things was going down, so we went to work to try to make things better.
And what were some of the things you did?
Well, we, first of all, Lucy was suffering a bunch, and my daughter, which was such a little girl at the time, we marched and protested to get the task force here in Paterson.
Okay.
And Mr. Marshall from New York was the first director of the task force.
What about the college?
Miss Foster came to the NAACP, and she brought information to us about the college. I guess I wasn't going to say it. Pasquale did not want the college here in Paterson. He wanted it up county. But we stuck together, and we really said that we needed a college here in Paterson. And we stuck together and voted that that college would come here to Paterson.
So back in those days, community folks were community folks, and they actually stuck together.
Yes, we did.
During that time, you were a member of what church?
I was member of Community Baptist Church. And first of all, the church, Community Baptist Church, started from 2 rooms on Hamilton Avenue, right across the street from School 6 at that particular time. And we moved from school, from 2 rooms down to this church on Auburn Street. And Senior Lagar was the pastor that I became a member under, and my husband.
What was his name?
His name was Florida Lagar. Yeah.
What type of guy was he?
What kind of guy was he? I tell you, he was a fiery preacher, I can tell you that. And I tell you, that church was like one big family. And we worked very hard, and that church was paid off 3 years, $65,500. Because in that church, we were members, but we were just one close, big family.
And what were some of the things that went on in that church that didn't happen in other churches?
Well, what went on, well, like we was a family, we was working to keep the church going and to reach out in the community to people, and especially young people at that particular time.
That's the church at Auburn Street you're talking about.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the church on Auburn Street, when Reverend Lagarde, Florin Lagarde, Floville Lagarde
Yes.
was pastor, what were some of the things that he did as far as civil rights were concerned?
Well, Florida Lagarde was not that much in the civil rights at that particular time.
When did the civil rights part come in?
It came under Freddie Lagarde.
What happened?
Well, Freddie, after his father died, he came and he took over the church. I became under him trustee and treasurer of that church at that time. And that was back in, that was 69, around 67, I became a trustee and a treasurer there.
And when he came, what were some of the things that he brought with him as far as civil rights is concerned?
He wanted to reach out in the community for the seniors and young people, you know, to help them, because he could see the need in here in the community. There was nothing really happening for the youth or the seniors at that particular time.
And what did he do?
Well, he started to build houses, to renovate houses, and one of the projects was he renovated some houses in Passaic, New Jersey.
When did a need for Dr. King arise to come to Paterson? What happened that Dr. King needed to come here?
Because it was protesting, and Peter Wright and Jeff Mallory was one of the two people that instrumented in helping getting SCLC here in Paterson. And Reverend Lagarde took it from there. And they had a little office place there on, I think, Summer Street, where SCLC was. We protest because we saw the need that was in Paterson that the black people did not have. A lot of stuff. A lot of stuff was going on that was oppressing black people here in Paterson. And we marched and we protested constantly to get things changed.
What were some of the things, some of the needs that they needed?
Well, welfare mothers was not getting their desk dues, you know, and the housing projects. It was a lot of stuff that was happening that was not benefiting black people. So we protested. We really was out there every single day and night. We'll have something going on for as making a difference here in Paterson.
When you heard, as a member of Reverend Lagarde's church, and you found that Dr. King was coming to Paterson, how did you feel?
I was really excited because, first of all, I marched to Washington in 1963. When he had the speech, I had a dream. We marched from the NAACP here down on Broadway at that time to Washington. And I was enlightened to know that he was coming to Paterson at that time. because I was their treasurer there at the church and the trustee when he came.
Once inside that church, with all those crowds out front and people waiting to get in, where did you sit?
I sat about 4 seats back in the church.
What do you remember?
I remember him coming in, he came through the back, and one of the choir members kissed him. I'll never forget that. And he looked back, he looked around like I said, oh wow, you know, that this lady kissed him. And as he was leaving, he kissed my daughter and hugged her. I remember him saying, if you can't walk, no, if you run, run. If you can't run, walk. And if you can't walk, crawl, but keep moving.
Do you remember some of the songs that they sang in that service?
Mm-hmm.
What
We
was-
shall overcome, and we come this far by faith.
And as you sat in your seat and you heard this powerful preacher known worldwide speak, how did you feel?
I felt that Martin Luther King was God sent. I always did feel that. And the last speech that he made, that he had went to the mountaintop, I knew in my heart that the Holy Spirit had told him that it was a matter of time. No one would ever not tell me that God was directing his path every step of the way. And I was at the beauty parlor when I heard that he was, been assassinated. And I remember saying, I knew this was coming. And I said, he also knew it too. He knew his time was up because God had told him that it was. And he wasn't afraid because the Bible teaches us to fear not and renew our mind. And he knew. He was not afraid. He knew his time was up, and he knew he had did what God had planned for him to do.
That day when you learned 4 days ago, Dr. King was in Community Church of Love. 4 days ago he was there. Now he's gone.
Yeah.
How did you feel?
Well, I just said to you, when I was in the beauty parlor and I heard it, I knew that he knew because he had made the speech before, that he had been to the mountaintop and he was not fearing anything or anybody. And I felt right then that he knew that his time was up because God had prepared him. I believe that deep in my heart. The Holy Spirit was leading Dr. Martin King all through it. In our lives, when we get out and we stand up for something that's right and just, and we have a deep belief in God, you don't have fear because you got a job to do because God had made a plan for you to do that job. And you're going to do that job because you are not there alone. The Holy Spirit is directing and leading your path. And you are being obedient and following what he wants us to do.
Even after Dr. King's visit here, 4 days later, his death, you were involved in so many civil rights struggles, helping people, and today you're still helping people. Did any of that happen because of his speech?
Yes. Oh, yes. Martin Luther King really opened up black people's mind. He opened up to let them know that they were somebody and that they were God's children and they didn't have to take the world saying by who they were. He really did. He enlightened the mind. And that is what is needed to be done now. Enlighten the young people's mind and let them know, hey, that negativism that you have put up there, you pull it down because you are somebody, you're a child of God, and you don't have to take what the world throw at you. Don't let people put labels on you, because then you have to have love, deep love inside of yourself for yourself.
How do you feel about the church being preserved?
I feel, well, I definitely, I'm delighted that the church being preserved, because so much came out of that church. So much love and togetherness was in that church. My daughter was Christian when she was 6 months old on Hamilton Avenue. She was a little usher, and she sang on the choir there. And after my husband died, that's when I became a trustee and a treasurer in that church under the junior lookout.
And you know that the same pews, the same windows, the same pulpit, the same chairs are still there today.
Yes.
And now it's being preserved.
Yep.
What do you think young people can learn from that historical significance?
I think if that church being preserved, the young people will realize the fact that the history and the struggle that has gone on in Paterson, they don't have to join gangs and do all kinds of evil things to themselves. Because I'm going to tell you, it all boiled down that young people want to belong to something. Whether it's negative or positive, they want to belong to something because they searching for some type of identity. That's how you have the games.
I see. And the church is still standing. The memory is still alive. But there is all the warriors that have put all those things in place are gone.
Yes.
What do you feel can make them, what the work that they did, what do you think can make the work that they did speak for them through this designation?
Bringing it to the forefront and let the young people know, because they don't know. Because all the, like you said, those warriors that was here, out there, day and night, getting things together for us, they're gone. And I have been saying for the last 5 years, it should not be swept under the rug. It should be out there to let the young people know, because they don't know. They don't really know what happened, and people put their lives on the line for them. They don't know that. They don't know anything about that. And you know, one thing about the parade that we have, they get so excited about that parade. And that's one part that is showing them that we do have something that are going on and happening here in Paterson. And the black church have always been the forefront for black people in America. Everything has, for black people, had come out of the black church, always.
And that church just left standing can be a momentum in Paterson, not only for history, but for learning.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson.
You're welcome.
Who are you?